Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic of our lecture is sociolinguistics. What is sociolinguistics? It is clear from the name that sociolinguistics is a composition of two different words. First one is socio and second one is linguistics. What is socio? Socio is about society and linguistics is the scientific study of any language. And society is a group of people living together or drawn together for a certain purpose or purposes. And language is a means of communication. Why we think that the language is a mean of communication and how is it tool for communication? Because if we are living within a society, we have to interact with other peoples, we have to convey our important messages, information, our desires, emotions, and ideas. And with the help of language we can do all these activities. It means sociolinguistics is a detailed study of social aspects of language within a society. Here we have different definitions of sociolinguistics given by different sociolinguists. First, Hudson in 1996 said that the study of language in relation to society, that how a language relates with a certain society, how a specific language related to a specific society, that is discussed under the domain of sociolinguistics. And according to Treadgill, the study of language as social and cultural phenomena is sociolinguistics. We will study that how language is a social phenomena and how is it the cultural phenomena. Next, we will discuss the scope of sociolinguistics. What do you mean by scope? Scope is a range of topics that we discuss under the particular subject. Some subjects has limited scope and some has broader scope, but sociolinguistics has broader scope. We will study it at different levels at broader scope. It means sociolinguistics studies the relation between society and language. How different factors affect our language. What are the different factors, social factors like age, class, group, gender, sex differences, family differences, and economic classes like upper, lower, and middle class, and how these variations, these phonological variations, or these social factors affect our language, we will study under the domain of sociolinguistics. When we talk about sociolinguistics, we will study the language at three different levels. First one is structural level, second one is functional level, and third one is social level. What is structural level? We will focus on phonological aspects in structural level. What are the phonological aspects like? These are pronunciation, vocabulary, tenses, etc. in social context. Sometimes phonological variations occur in our language, so we will study it under the domain of sociolinguistics. We do not only study the language at the level of structure, at the level of phonological aspects, we also study it at functional level. We perform different functions within a society. Sometimes we reject someone, sometimes we accept something, sometimes we give permission to other people, and sometimes we request someone. So all these functions are performed by help of language. It emphasizes the function of language in the society. And third level is the social level. Language is a social phenomena. And how is it social phenomena? Language is not something which can exist in isolated form, which can exist in bound environment. It helps us to be socialized and it helps us be social, to be social. And it helps us to communicate with our society. As we have divided linguistics into two major approaches. These were microlinguistics and macrolinguistics. Same like that, we will divide sociolinguistics into further two approaches. First one is microsociolinguistics and second one is macrosociolinguistics. In microsociolinguistics, we explain the structural pattern of language of a specific society. What are these structural patterns? These structural patterns are phonological aspects, pronunciation, tenses, vocabulary, etc. There are different subfields which are studied under the domain of under the umbrella of microsociolinguistics, like dialectology. As it is clear from the name, dialectology is the study of dialects. What are dialects? Dialects are varieties of language which occurs within a society. Sometimes these variations are registered, idiolect, accents, and different styles, patterns, jargons. As we have studied that idiolect is a personal habit of speech and register is the professional use of a language. We also study discourse analysis under the umbrella of sociolinguistics. We also study ethnography. We also study the psychology of language within the microsociolinguistics. And there are many subfields which we study under macrosociolinguistics. What is macrosociolinguistics? So, sociology of language, it is called the sociology of language. It mainly relates to the rise and fall of particular language in a particular society. Sometimes we see that a language enjoys higher status, and sometimes we see that that language enjoys the lower status. And some social factors, political factors, religious factors also affect on the rise and fall of a particular language within a society. And in macrosociolinguistics, we also study the distribution of language varieties across the various groups. And it means that we will study how these variations occur, when these variations occur, and how social, economic, and other factors affect the language. Sometimes we see there is gender discrimination. I mean, sometimes we see that there are taboos, forbidden words, which are used by different genders. Means male use different words and females also use different words. And sometimes there are many forbidden words which are used by a specific gender. We also study further fields under the domain of macrosociolinguistics, like large variation large variations and changes occur within a language. How these variations occur, we will see it in macrosociolinguistics, like pidgin, creole. And what is pidgin? Like pidgin is a contract language. It is composed by combining two or more different languages. And creole, when the pidgin become the native language, the language of next generation, then it will call creole. And also we also study language attitudes, that what we think about a language, that one language is inferior and other one is superior. So these are different language attitudes, our personal views about a language. In this lecture, we have studied what is sociolinguistics, and we studied the language at three different levels, that were structural, functional, and social level. And we also studied the two different approaches of sociolinguistics, like microsociolinguistics and macrosociolinguistics, and which fields are included in microsociolinguistics and macrosociolinguistics. See you guys in next lecture with a new informative content. अल्लाह ने के बाद। थैंक यू सो मच।